Hello everyone, welcome to USA Affairs. Today we're diving into one of the most significant flashpoints of the modern era, the escalating tensions in the Middle East, specifically focusing on Israel's recent confrontations with Hezbollah and Hamas. These tensions have been exacerbated by a significant new development, a drone strike targeting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, believed to be orchestrated by Iranian proxies. But to truly understand this situation, we must first consider the decades-long struggle in the Middle East, a conflict shaped by territorial disputes, political strife, and ongoing military provocations. Israel's recent killing of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar has sparked retaliatory attacks. But these events are part of a much larger regional narrative. Let's break it all down and explore the bigger picture. Next, we delve into the aftermath and Netanyahu's response. With details from Fox News, Netanyahu promises retaliation following assassination attempt by Hezbollah. The drone strike on Netanyahu's home is seen as a warning, rather than a direct assassination attempt. Despite recent Israeli military successes, experts believe claims of incapacitating groups like Hezbollah and Hamas are premature. Israeli strikes have resulted in casualties in Lebanon, and the conflict has escalated following the killing of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. To understand the gravity of the situation, we must consider the history of attacks and counterattacks between Israel and Hezbollah. Hezbollah, a Shia Islamist militant group and political party based in Lebanon, has been a major adversary of Israel for decades. Supported by Iran, Hezbollah has engaged in numerous conflicts with Israel, including the 2006 Lebanon War. This proxy battle is part of a larger regional power struggle between Iran and Israel, with Hezbollah acting as Iran's extended arm in the region. Next, we delve into the aftermath and Netanyahu's response. With details from Fox News, Netanyahu promises retaliation following assassination attempt by Hezbollah. Despite the drone attack, Netanyahu is resolute in his stance against Israel's enemies. He warned Iran and its proxies that they would pay a heavy price for any harm to Israeli citizens. In a video message, Netanyahu expressed confidence in winning the war and highlighted the elimination of terrorist mastermind Yahya Sinwar. The international community, including U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin has expressed support for Israel, with House Speaker Mike Johnson reaffirming America's commitment to counter Iran and its terrorist proxies. To understand Netanyahu's unwavering resolve, we must consider the history of attacks and counterattacks between Israel and Hezbollah. Hezbollah, a Shia Islamist militant group and political party based in Lebanon, has been a major adversary of Israel for decades. Supported by Iran, Hezbollah has engaged in numerous conflicts with Israel, including the 2006 Lebanon War. This proxy battle is part of a larger regional power struggle between Iran and Israel, with Hezbollah acting as Iran's extended arm in the region. Let's move on to the Washington Post's coverage. Drone launched at Netanyahu's home. North Gaza hospitals under fire, officials say. A drone targeted Netanyahu's residence in Caesarea, but fortunately it did not hit its mark. However, the situation in Gaza and Lebanon remains dire. Israeli strikes have intensified, with significant casualties reported. Hospitals in northern Gaza are under fire, leading to a humanitarian crisis. The Israel Defense Forces IDF and Hezbollah continue to exchange fire, resulting in casualties on both sides. The U.S. has called for increased humanitarian aid to Gaza while acknowledging ongoing military actions. This article highlights the broader impact of the conflict on civilians, particularly in Gaza. The Gaza Strip, governed by Hamas, has been a focal point of Israeli military operations. The densely populated area has suffered significant casualties and infrastructural damage due to repeated conflicts. The humanitarian situation in Gaza is dire, with hospitals struggling to cope with the influx of casualties and shortages of medical supplies. Next, we turn to NDTV's report. Israel drops leaflets over Gaza showing Yahya Sinwar's body and message to Hamas. The Israeli military intensified operations in Gaza, dropping leaflets featuring the deceased Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. This psychological tactic aims to undermine Hamas control in Gaza. Recent Israeli airstrikes have resulted in significant civilian casualties, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. The total death toll in Gaza has exceeded 42,500, with hospitals under siege. Psychological warfare is a tactic used to demoralize and destabilize the enemy. By dropping leaflets with messages aimed at Hamas, Israel seeks to weaken the group's hold on Gaza and encourage civilians to turn against them. However, these tactics also contribute to the psychological toll on the civilian population, who are already suffering from the impacts of the conflict. From the Jerusalem Post, Netanyahu vows response to assassination attempt, IDF strikes in Gaza and Beirut. A Hezbollah drone targeted Netanyahu's home, but no injuries were reported. The Israeli Air Force responded by striking in Gaza and eliminating Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon. The IDF is also dealing with rocket threats in Haifa and the Carmel region. Reports suggest Iran's involvement in the assassination attempt, with Israel preparing to retaliate. The Israeli Defense Forces IDF play a crucial role in the country's defense strategy. Their operations in Gaza and Lebanon are aimed at neutralizing threats and protecting Israeli citizens. However, these military actions often result in significant casualties and damage, leading to international criticism and calls for restraint. Now, let's look at Haaretz's perspective. Assassination attempt on Netanyahu could shape Israel's actions in Lebanon and Iran. The drone attack by Hezbollah signals escalating tensions between Israel and its adversaries. There's speculation that Iran may have assisted Hezbollah in this operation. Public sentiment in Israel is mixed, with some criticizing Netanyahu's leadership. The broader implications of this violence could lead to continued military operations in Gaza and a wider regional conflict, raising concerns about future humanitarian impacts and regional stability. Public sentiment in Israel regarding Netanyahu's leadership is divided. Supporters view him as a strong and decisive leader who takes necessary actions to protect the nation. Critics, however, argue that his aggressive policies and military actions escalate tensions and lead to unnecessary suffering for both Israelis and Palestinians. This divide is reflective of the larger political landscape in Israel, where security concerns often dominate electoral politics. In conclusion, the recent drone attacks on Benjamin Netanyahu's home underscore the ongoing and escalating tensions in the Middle East. Despite these threats, Netanyahu remains steadfast in his resolve to continue military operations against Israel's enemies. The situation in Gaza and Lebanon is dire, with significant casualties and humanitarian concerns. As this conflict unfolds, the international community watches closely, urging for humanitarian aid and peaceful resolutions. This comprehensive look at the events and their broader implications underscores the need for a nuanced understanding of the Middle East conflict. The historical context, regional dynamics, and human impact are all critical elements in this ongoing story. As we continue to monitor these developments, it's crucial to understand the historical context and the human impact of these events. Let's have a look at this official viral clip from Netanyahu.
1 year ago, Yahya Sinwar, the terrorist chief of Hamas, launched the October 7th massacre against Israel. It was the bloodiest attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. It was the worst attack on the Jewish state since the founding of Israel. Sinwar's terrorists murdered in cold blood 1,200 people. That's elderly people, Holocaust survivors, children. They brutally raped women. They beheaded men. They burnt babies alive. And they took some 250 men, 251 women, men, and children hostage to the dungeons of Gaza. Today, the mastermind of this day of sheer evil is no more. Yahya Sinwar is dead. He was killed in Rafah by the brave soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces. While this is not the end of the war in Gaza, it's the beginning of the end. To the people of Gaza, I have a simple message. This war can end tomorrow. It can end if Hamas lays down its arms and returns our hostages. Hamas is holding 101 hostages in Gaza, who are citizens of 23 countries, citizens of Israel, but citizens of many other countries. Israel is committed to doing everything in our power to bring all of them home. And Israel will guarantee the safety of all those who return our hostages. But to those who would harm our hostages, I have another message. Israel will hunt you down and bring you to justice. I also have a message of hope to the peoples of the region. The axis of terror that was built by Iran is collapsing before our eyes. Nasrallah is gone. His deputy Muhsin is gone. Haniyeh is gone. Def is gone. Sinwar is gone. The reign of terror that the Iranian regime has imposed on its own people and on the peoples of Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen, this too will come to an end. All those who seek a future of prosperity and peace in the Middle East should unite to build a better future. Together, we can push back the forces of darkness and create a future of light and hope for all of us.
It's clear that the message Israel wants to send with the killing of Yahya Sinwar goes beyond a simple act of retaliation. Israel is demonstrating its capability to surgically strike at the very heart of Hamas leadership, and in doing so, it aims to weaken the morale of Hamas fighters and send a strong signal to Iran. The targeted killing of Sinwar serves as a reminder of Israel's advanced intelligence and military prowess, reinforcing its commitment to preemptively neutralize threats before they can materialize into larger conflicts. However, this move also risks escalating the situation further, potentially drawing in Iran and its network of proxies, including Hezbollah, into a more direct confrontation. These tweets highlight the determination and the narrative pushed by Israeli leadership, emphasizing both the resolve to continue military operations and the broader geopolitical implications involving Iran and its proxies. In conclusion, the recent drone attacks on Benjamin Netanyahu's home highlight the ongoing and escalating tensions in the Middle East. Despite these threats, Netanyahu remains steadfast in his resolve to continue military operations against Israel's enemies. The situation in Gaza and Lebanon is dire, with significant casualties and humanitarian concerns. As this conflict unfolds, the international community watches closely, urging for humanitarian aid and peaceful resolutions. This comprehensive look at the events and their broader implications underscores the need for a nuanced understanding of the Middle East conflict. The historical context, regional dynamics, and human impact are all critical elements in this ongoing story. Now, let's take a moment to watch a viral official clip from Netanyahu himself, where he addresses the recent developments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated on this evolving situation. Thank you for watching USA Affairs.